Welcome in, guys, to Rover Sports, the show tonight. It is like a 1 o'clock kind of show, and I'm going to be talking here out of my right eyeball about the NFL. I'm going to be ranting for about maybe 20 minutes on all of my opinions about the NFL. Sorry, my voice was too deep, I think. I think I need to soften it up a little bit. Just to kind of apply to some of the listeners, kind of soften it, harden it when necessary to drive home a point, because you want your voice to be versatile in your opinion-making process. So I could just start off in any way, but I got 20 minutes, and I'm going to get through all the takes in 20 minutes. All right. So Lamar Jackson, he's having a really good season this year. The Ravens are winning a lot of games. The Lamar Jackson fans are really annoying fans because instead of just appreciating the Ravens and instead of just saying Lamar Jackson is awesome, instead of just appreciating Jackson, the Lamar Jackson doing well, they're taking it to immediately pointing out the critics of Lamar Jackson, which is everybody, or which is a lot of people, because he was one of the worst throwers to be selected in the first round in the history of first-round quarterbacks. I noted at Louisville he threw the damn football, but he wasn't particularly precise at Louisville, okay? He had one good Heisman year. He played in a terrible and shitty conference. And Trevor Lawrence is doing the same things that Lamar Jackson is doing, just at a higher level, but nobody is screaming about how good Trevor Lawrence is because the ACC is a hot pile of garbage. He also had an offensive mastermind in Bobby Petrino. But the Lamar Jackson people, just like the Sam Darnold Jet fans, are the biggest bunch of emotional people on YouTube. And it's frustrating to be a part of that, to listen to those people. And every time Lamar Jackson does well, you're reminded how much, you hated on him and everything. Instead of just appreciating how good the guy has been, instead of just appreciating the season, it's more turned into, trying to go after like some people in the media. It's going after people like myself or other people who said Lamar Jackson would be a flop in the NFL, that he wouldn't even start for a couple of years, and that his game would be reminiscent of the Chargers game last year. And I'm not going to deviate from my opinion. Lamar Jackson's having a good year. I'm not going to correct my opinion on Lamar Jackson. I believe that in the long run, quarterbacks such as Baker Mayfield, quarterbacks, even if Mitchell Trubisky gets the opportunity, I think Mitch can be a better quarterback in the long run. I'm talking about over the next 2 years. So if Lamar Jackson in 2 years is still continuing to play well, if he's still continuing to be unstoppable in the passing game, I will then adjust. I'll then absolutely say that I was wrong. For this year, I was dead wrong on Lamar Jackson. I thought that his decline would come in earlier. Instead, the Ravens have a chance at a Super Bowl in the special year. Just fixing my laptop so that this stream can be completed in 20 minutes. So Lamar Jackson's, he's a pretty good quarterback, okay, for this year. Now, why is he good? He has a running game. He has a great defense. The schedule's been easy so far. And, John Harbaugh's done a great job, and Greg Roman's done an amazing job. Lamar Jackson himself is a really good runner. We knew that coming out of college. This option game, you're not able to stop, and then you're not able to stop him throwing to the tight ends. Once you could stop the tight ends, once you could get faster linebackers, that's really what it comes down to, is fast defensive ends to seal the edge. Got to have athletic guys, athletic edge rushers. And that's why a team like the 49ers will stop the Ravens coming up, and the Ravens are not going to finish better than the Patriots. They're going to go to the AFC Championship, which, again, is a lot further than I thought they would do, and they're going to lose to New England in New England. unless somehow the Kansas City Chiefs can beat the Patriots, which the Chiefs' defense looks really good. So I actually think that the Chiefs have a really good opportunity to beat the New England Patriots. I think that the only two teams that are going to represent the AFC, if I were doing AFC power rankings, it's the Patriots 1 and the Kansas City Chiefs 2. It's the exact same as last year. The Chiefs are 7-4. The Raiders are going to choke to the Jets this week. Mark it down. The Jets are actually playing good football, and I know that the Oakland Raiders, they've beaten up on a couple of bad teams. They're overachieving. They're coming into MetLife. I think that the Jets are favored in the game. The Jets are going to come out there, and the Jets are going to beat the Oakland Raiders. So that train's going to end up stopping, even though the Raiders won. I look at the 49ers, and the 49ers are just pretty much holding on until the end of the year. They're almost tanking, but they're not. They're letting Jimmy Garoppolo sink or swim. They're not making the running game be that physical because they're trying to save up their offensive line's health for the end of the year. A game like the Arizona Cardinals, the offensive line and the running game, they want to let Jimmy Garoppolo either win or lose the game, and luckily Garoppolo was able to win the game. They needed to have a test for their quarterback. The 49ers understand that they have to beat the Saints, that they're going to have to go and beat Seattle at Seattle, and I still think the Niners are the best team in the NFC. I still think it's Niners and Patriots is my adjusted Super Bowl prediction. Let's talk about other teams in the NFL. I think that actually I watched Kyle Allen's tape, and I'm a big Kyle Allen fan. I think Kyle Allen is going to be a quarterback in the NFL for the next 5 to 10 years, and I think in Carolina he should be able to start about 3 to 4 more years. That defense is just not that good. Those pass rushers are not good. Their running defense is average. Their head coach is very, very mediocre. And Kyle Allen has overachieved with this Panthers team. A lot of people want to make it out like Cam Newton would have went to Lambeau and won, or would have won yesterday when it was a complete shit show. Cam Newton couldn't even beat the Bucs at home. He couldn't even beat the Rams at home. So Cam Newton was 0-2 at home. He's a shot quarterback. He's not going to be any good anymore. Kyle Allen, yes, he had a couple of unfortunate interceptions, but he still threw for over 300 yards. And also, the Panthers' defense was laughably bad. Calvin Ridley went over 125 yards. So the loss isn't just on Kyle Allen. And when it's your first year playing in the NFL, you're going to have games like this, especially against an opponent that can scheme you up, especially against an opponent that is going to get in your face, and an opponent that knows you like the back of their hand. And that's what the Atlanta Falcons are. An opponent that knows you like the back of their freaking hand. Okay? So that is pretty much, there we go. See? Yeah, that's perfect. Holds out the light bulb. We are rocking and we are rolling in a free world. That is what I'm talking about. So Kyle Allen, I'm not worried about Kyle Allen. I think that the Chicago Bears fans need to relax about Matthew Nagy. Matthew Nagy was the coach of the year last year. He went 11-5, and Mitchell Trubisky was a good quarterback. Mitch is having a sophomore slump. It's going to happen. When you play in the same division as the Minnesota Vikings, you play in the same division as Aaron Rodgers, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live, you are not going to win that division every single year. Mitchell Trubisky is a division champion. Matt Nagy's the reigning coach of the year. Jordan Howard was not able to be re-signed, and he's a huge loss for this offense, okay? The tight end position hasn't been developed, and yes, Nagy has struggled this year. But the point is about Matthew Nagy is you can't just say, oh, we're going to fire Matt Nagy, we're going to bring in Lincoln Riley and a new quarterback. That is the same impulsive decision that Cleveland Browns fans want. You got to stick out your plan. And just 12 months ago, you were on YouTube clamoring that Mitchell Trubisky after he beat the Vikings, after he swept the Detroit Lions, after he put up big games last year, you were saying how Matt Nagy in this offense was one of the best offenses you had seen in 25 years. You do not want to be schizophrenic or bipolar with your decision making. You have Matt Nagy. He was a really good coach last year. This defense is not as good because Vic Fangio left. It's an average it's an all right defense, but you're not getting the same turnovers. Khalil Mack's sacks are down. So I would stick with Trubisky and Nagy another year and have a full draft with more draft picks for these kids, and you need to be patient with Mitchell Trubisky and Matthew Nagy. You need to be patient with Trubisky, and you should be patient with Matt Nagy. That's the way it should go, because Matt Nagy's offense was absolutely fantastic last year. The team is still playing really hard for him. It's not like you're going 3-13. You had a very tough schedule. You're competitive in all these games. If a couple of plays happen differently in the Chicago game, where you guys are in the Oakland game, in the Chargers game, you guys could be looking at a 5-4 record. And in the and you're playing in the NFC North. You're playing with the Vikings. You're playing with the Packers. The wild card this year between Seattle, between the 49ers, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Panthers even were in it for a while. It's not easy to get a wild card. So Chicago Bears fans need to relax. You need to keep Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback. Do not draft another quarterback. Maybe you bring in a Mariota to compete with Trubisky so that if he has a shitty season next year, you can dump him kind of like you're doing with Mariota. Trubisky is still a cheap quarterback. It's important for him to finish out the season strong. It's up to Nagy to run the ball in the middle of the field, but it's not time to get a new head coach. That's ridiculous thinking. It's only year 2. Now, I'll tell you a couple of franchises that might want to get a new coach. I think Doug Marrone has had 2 years since he won since he was in the AFC Championship, and Doug Marrone and Blake Bortles, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was their one impressive win during that playoff run. They also beat Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo. That year, the AFC was complete dog shit. It's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. The entire league was down that year, okay? The Patriots had to beat Marcus Mariota and Blake Bortles, 2 quarterbacks that are backups now, to even get to the Super Bowl. That's how daunting their run was in the AFC. So the point is about Doug Marrone is I believe Marrone needs to absolutely be fired. Todd Wash is not that creative of a defensive coordinator. He's overrated. And the Jaguars just need to clean house, absolutely. This week also showed me that the Atlanta Falcons are a really legit NFL team. They're an NFL franchise. Dan Quinn is a freaking beast. He's a great guy. He's an unbelievable CEO. He's not a good play caller, but when he gives up his play calling duties, he is a bad man. He is absolutely impeccably good when he gives up his play calling duties, and that's why the Falcons are red fucking hot. The Falcons are going to slaughter the Bucs. They're going to get to 8-8 or 9-7, and they're going to enter next year, and they're going to come right back in. Now, Matt Ryan isn't that good of a quarterback. He hasn't been that good this year. He's not great in the pocket, but Isaiah Oliver's playing his ass off now. This defensive line is starting to hum a little bit when you watch them on tape, and they're starting to get some turnovers and takeaways. So I think that Dan Quinn is really a good football coach. I mean, when you look at Quinny, got to the Super Bowl, won without Kyle Shanahan. He was able to then make the wild card round. He was able to win a game against the Rams with Sean McVay just 2 years ago. This is a guy who's had a lot of success as a head coach. I would absolutely keep Dan Quinn. Now, I know that Shanahan's the better football coach, but Dan Quinn as a CEO, I mean, he's much better than Gus Bradley, and he's looking much better than Chris Richard. Which brings me to my Cowboys point. I believe that the Dallas Cowboys, okay, the Dallas freaking Cowboys, Kellen Moore is absolutely outstanding. Dak Prescott, first in the NFL in terms of passing yards, and the Cowboys offense ranks number 1 in the entire NFL in yards per game. The Cowboys offense is the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL, and it's led by a 30-year-old guy. The Cowboys defense absolutely fucking blows. It's terrible. It's horrible. It's hot garbage. This Cowboys defense is a train wreck. Chris Richard's stock has blown up overnight. He could have taken the Miami job. He could have taken these other jobs. He wanted to stick in Dallas with a really impressive defense, and either the Cowboys are tanking for the playoffs or they flat out suck. I think the Patriots are a gettable team. This week is huge for Dak Prescott. If he goes into New England and wins, it could be like an Eli Manning sort of victory in Foxborough. Let's see how good Dak is in New England with Kellen Moore. If the Cowboys win this game, they could separate from the Eagles. But still, the Cowboys can choke to Buffalo. The Cowboys can certainly choke to the Rams and the Bears. And you shouldn't get excited about beating Jeff Driscoll by 8 points and allowing Driscoll to put up 27 points on your ass. So the Dallas Cowboys are fraudulent. It pisses me off because they have a lot of defensive talent. Like, they have names like Van Der Esch is a good player. I've watched him be good. Jalen Smith. But apparently linebackers don't mean shit. Tank Lawrence is inconsistent. Robert Quinn was a free agent pickup who's been really good, or he was traded for. Byron Jones is the one good player in the secondary. They're passing secondary, and that's Chris Richard's specialty. They're not hanging up their end of the bargain. This offensive line has gone to shit in just about 2 seconds. They can't run the freaking football anymore. They abandoned the run yesterday with Ezekiel Elliott. They paid Ezekiel Elliott up the wazoo. Jerry Jones just spending money recklessly. And the Dallas freaking Cowboys are going to have Lincoln Riley. And Kellen Moore is probably one of the only good coaches this year. He is an absolute rock star. The Cowboys are ranked number 1 in offense. Kellen Moore, I told you guys he would be an outstanding football coach. He is a freaking beast, Kellen Moore. And I'm proud of Kellen Moore. He's doing an absolutely outstanding job. I'm really proud of him. Let's talk about Darnold. Darnold and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson at least has gotten to a playoff game. Sam Darnold hasn't done anything. Darnold only did something against the Washington Redskins and Dwayne Haskins, who again looks horrible. But for some reason, the media wants to criticize Trubisky and not Dwayne Haskins. But the point is about Sam Darnold, he had one good game against the Redskins. It's all play action. It's all bootlegs rolling to his right. There's nothing specifically exciting about his game. He's only able to hit tight ends that are 10 yards down the field. He cannot stretch you vertically. And that Redskins defense, that defense of the Washington Redskins is patchwork. Landon Collins couldn't communicate. There were gaping holes in the secondary. Josh Norman has quit. Their players have quit. It's time to see if Sam Darnold can win a game against a terrible pass defense. The Raiders are about the worst pass defense in the NFL. Deshaun Watson lit them up. Aaron Rodgers lit them up. They suck in the secondary. Now, I know that Mullins is playing better. I know that Eric Harris came in there and played really well. So for Sam Darnold and Gase, this is a very, very winnable game. The Raiders are an 8-8 team that doesn't have a lot of talent. They could stop Josh Jacobs, force Derek Carr to throw in that cold weather. Carr isn't immune to playing well on the road. So the New York Jets are going to have a great chance to win. Sam Darnold's going to be handed this game on a silver platter. Will he take it? and I think that Sam Darnold is actually going to win. It's more of an indictment on the Raiders. He's still a very average quarterback. I don't like Sam Darnold. He's still not going to be very good, but I'm still picking the Jets to win this week. I think I hit on just about every storyline that I wanted to hit on in the NFL. You know, the Eagles are probably still going to win the NFC East or have a chance to. That's a very average division. The Vikings are an average team, so that 4-5 game isn't going to. Actually, it's going to be Seattle going to Philly or Dallas, and the Seahawks are probably going to find a way to win before Seattle will go to San Francisco or something. And then you have the Packers, Saints, and Niners, so it'll be a rematch of Seahawks-Niners and a little bit of Saints. Packers going to Saints. That'll be a really good wild card weekend. But anyway, 20 minutes up and 20 minutes down on Rover. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the commentary. I know a lot of you guys will disagree with the commentary, but that's kind of the point. The point is to make a video. It's to share your opinions. It's to share exactly how you feel. Alrighty, guys, 20 minutes up and 20 minutes down. Thank you, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed Week 11 in the NFL.